friend in the new session for your online classes. The chapter which we are going to study, that is computer system organization, or you can say computer system overview. In this chapter you will learn that how the internal part of the computer systems are connected together in order to perform the work given by the user. So now moving with the topic, the first thing that you can see that there is a diagram drawn. This diagram is of computer organization, means how the internal components are connected to one another and how they affect one another's functioning and contribute to the overall performance of the computer. In this diagram you can see that there is an input device, there is an output device, and one big block. In this block you can easily see there are two parts. First one comprises three sub-components. These are the CPU, control unit, and arithmetical and logical unit. Collectively these three parts are known as CPU, and one other part that is called memory unit. As you know the few terms, that is RAM, ROM. So that is all in memory unit. So all the input devices, all the input components which are attached with your computer system, whether it is keyboard or mouse, then all other input units are collectively known as input devices, and all other output devices, that what you are attaching with your computer system, is known as output devices. It may be the printer, it may be the scanner, plotter, or it may be any other. Now moving ahead, you will learn about each and every component separately. So in the next part there is the definition of the computer organization given, that what is computer organization, that I told you earlier. It refers to the logical structure of the computer, means how the computers are, the internal parts of the computer are connected together. The next is input device. This is a very common definition. The devices, with the help of those devices, what we are doing, we are giving the input to the computers. Means what type of input you want to give, either with the help of mouse, either with the help of joystick, either with the help of OMR, OCR, MICR, and there are variety of input devices are available there. So with the help of these input devices you are giving the input to the computer system. Now moving ahead, the next is output devices. As you all know what are the output devices. So output devices are those devices, with the help of those devices you will be getting the output, the processed output from the computer. And the next is CPU. So what is the CPU? CPU is the brain of the computer. Why it is called the brain of the computer? Because all the calculative work is done in the CPU. And as our brain does the calculation work, governs our body, and keep the storing of the data, so all the three works has been done in the CPU. So it is considered as the brain of the computers. So now here I want to tell you one point, that what is left behind, that the computer work on the basis of IPO. What is IPO? IPO stands for I for input, P for process, and O for output. Means the working principle of the computer is what? The working principle of the computer is IPO. Means first of all you need to give input to the computer system, and then the computer processes the input given by the user, and after the processing it will gives you the output. So the computer work on the principle of IPO. So now going with the ALU, CU and registers, you can see that the full form of the ALU is arithmetical and logical unit. Means in this unit all type of calculations, either it is arithmetic or it is logical. So now what is arithmetic calculations and what are the logical operations? The arithmetical means plus, minus, division, multiplication, and the logical means comparison, means greater than, smaller than, is equal to. These operations are known as logical operations. So all these type of arithmetical and logical operations are done in the ALU. And what does CU do? The full form of the CU is control unit. So the CU act as the supervisor, means what and every action what is going on in the computer is controlled and guided by the control unit, means control unit took care of each and every operation that what is going in the computer system. And the next is register. So what is the registers? Registers are the basically a small unit of data holding place, means the CPU uses register for what? For hold the data for a small duration when the data is being calculated in the CPU. So the registers are work as the small memory structure which is used to hold or store the data when the process is going on, means when the calculation part is going on, the data is stored in the registers. So the computer organization, what are there? There is an input device, there is an output device, and there is a CPU. The CPU has three parts. First one is ALU, that is arithmetical and logical unit. The second one is CU, that is control unit, and the third one is the registers. So what are the registers? Registers are the small memory that holds the small data. Now moving ahead, the next topic is system bus. What is system bus? System bus is nothing that you can see the pair of cable which used to take data or the information from one place to another inside the computer architecture, or you can say the set of wires. So if you understand that there is a set of wires used to connecting the internal part of the computer, so the set of wires are called the system bus. Simply, there is nothing to learn about the system bus. System bus is a simply what? System bus is a set of wires. So according to their work, it can be further divided into four parts. First one is data bus, second is control, the address, and the IO bus. So as its name implies, it works is also implies, means the data bus is used to take the data from one place to another inside the computer, means when we are sending any data with the help of input device, what is be done? The data is gone through the data bus from to the memory. The control bus is used to send the control from the control unit to the other devices, means the control unit send the control signals with the help of control bus to the different locations or to the different parts of the computer. And what the address bus do? Address bus try to find out the address of any specific data. So this bus is known as address bus. And the second is IO bus, means the data which you are inputted or which the data is given to the output device is moved with the help of IO buses. Now moving ahead, in this slide you will study about the memory units. So before starting with the memory unit, let's revise some other units which you have studied earlier. Like if you want to weight any solid thing, you have the units like gram, milligram, kilogram, and for the liquid you have the data liter, milliliter, है ना? For the distance, meter, centimeter, kilometer, and all. So what are these units? These units are used to measure a specific thing, and according to the weight or the capacity increases, the value, the name of the measuring units also change. So when we are talking in the sense of the memory, now starting with the very smallest unit, that is bit. So what is bit? In the bit you can see there is a single binary unit, that is 0 or 1. Yani when you are using bit, I am saying bit, it means I am saying 0 or 1. After bit you can say there is a one other term that is called nibble. So 1 nibble is equal to 4 bit, and this is only for the knowledge, and there is nothing any use of the term nibble in the future. So this is only you will have to know that what is nibble. So nibble is what? Nibble is a collection of 4 bits. Next, the important term is byte. So what is byte? Byte is a collection of 8 bits. When 8 bits are together, then it is called a byte. Now in the similar way, what is kilobyte? Kilobyte is a collection of 1024 byte. Megabyte is a collection of 1024 kilobytes. This is in the sequence, so you can learn it. There is nothing any new term. You have already studied the term MB, GB. So these are the memory units that what you can use in your daily life. Now the next is part of the main memory. So what is the function of the memory? Now starting with the function of the memory. So the function of the memory is to store the data. So there is one more term, that is speed of the data. Usually you say that this pen drive is slow, the system is slow, this pen drive is fast. Means what you can say that the reading and the writing time in the memory or in the pen drive is slow or fast. So according to the speed of the data or the use of the data, there are various type of memories available. Now mainly we have two types of memories. First one is RAM and the second one is ROM. This is also you have studied earlier. So what is RAM? RAM is a random access memory, or you can say read and write memory. And what is ROM? ROM is a read only memory. So one more thing that you all know, that RAM is a volatile memory and ROM is a non-volatile memory. Means when you switched off the light, the data stored in the RAM is vanished or deleted, but the data stored in the ROM will keep safe as long as you can. So these are the basic classification of the memory, that is the RAM and the ROM. So now here this is given the type of RAM. There are two types of RAM is given here, that is dynamic RAM and next is static RAM. Previously when the computer system was new, they were using the dynamic RAM, and the components what they are using in the dynamic RAM is the transistor and the capacitor. These are the points to be memorized, and the access time is between 20 to 70 nanoseconds. Means when you want to write anything or you want to read anything from the memory, the access time is 20 to 70 nanosecond, means the time is greater. Now nowadays what we are using static RAM, and static RAM is made up of flip-flops, and they have the faster access time of only 10 nanosecond, means exactly half of the dynamic RAM. So from this section you will have to learn 2 points, that is type of RAM, that is dynamic RAM. Next the static RAM. The dynamic RAM is made up of transistor and the capacitor, and the static RAM is made up of flip-flops, and the static RAM is faster than the dynamic RAM. Okay. Now next is read only memory. So what is a read only memory? Read only memory means the user is not allowed to write anything in the memory. The user can read the data that is already written in the memory. Means when you have any read only memory, what you can do, you can only read the content. You don't have any permission to write the content. For example, you have brought a CD from the market, any movie CD or any software CD. So you can't write it anything on that particular CD. Now you can just read it the CD, you can just access the CD. So these type of memory in which you are not write anything, these type of CDs, these type of memories are called the read only memory. So the question arises, when you are reading something from the memory, there must be written anything that what you are reading. So on the basis of the type of writing, or when you can write or how you can write in a read only memory, the read only memory can be further categorized into the three types, that is PROM, EROM and EEROM. These three are the important topics: PROM, EPROM and EEPROM. Now starting with PROM, one by one I will be explaining everyone, so listen it carefully. The first is PROM. So what is PROM? PROM stands for Programmable Read Only Memory. Means this type of memory can be programmed once. Means you are purchasing the blank memory from the market and you are programming, or you are able to write it in this memory only once, and after you had written some data in this memory or in the PROM, this memory will work as the simply what? ROM. So programmable RAM are such type of memory which are initially blank, in which you can write your data once, and after the data is written it will work as the simple read only memory. Then the next is EPROM, that is erasable programmable ROM. Means from this memory you can write the data but you can erase the data. Means you can write the data more than one time in this read only memory, but there are some specific devices are available through which you can erase the data. In the EPROM you will have to give an exposure of the ultraviolet rays in this particular PROM, and after the influence of the ultraviolet rays, the data will be deleted. Means the whole data will be deleted from the EPROM, and your read only memory is again blank and you can write it again. The next is EEPROM. Now there are two E. First E is stands for electrically, and the second one is erasable, and P for programmable and R for ROM. Means this is electrically erasable programmable ROM. In this type of ROM you can erase your data with the help of electric waves or with the help of electronic signals. So what is the difference between EPROM and EEPROM? In the EPROM you are using ultraviolet rays, and in the EEPROM you are using electric waves. This is the first difference. The second difference is that in the EEPROM the whole data will be erased. Means you have written the data, and if there is any error in one or two line, in one or two bits, then what will happen? The whole data will be deleted. And in the EEPROM, the bit in which there is fault, only that particular bit will be deleted. So this is the difference between EPROM and EEPROM. Now moving to the next topic, that is compact disc. Usually we can see it CD. So what is CD? The storage capacity of the CD is 700 MB. There are various type of CDs available in the market. The first one is CD-ROM, means that is CD read only memory, that you can purchase the written CD from the market and you can only access it as the movie CD or any software CD. The next is CD-R, means you can write it once you are getting the blank CD from the market, and you can write once in the CD, and after that this CD will work as the CD-ROM. And the next is CD-RW, means CD read and write. It means you can write it, erase it and again write it in the CD as multiple times as you want. Now moving to the next topic, that is the Blu-ray disc. The storage capacity of the Blu-ray disc is 128 GB. It stores the data intact way. So the storing capacity of the Blu-ray disc is 128 GB. This is the important point. So the Blu-ray disc is look like the CD and the DVD only, but the storage capacity is much higher than the CD and DVD. The next is DVD. So the storage capacity of the DVD is again greater than the CD. So how? Because it stores 20 times as fast as the CD-ROM and 50 times as much as information. Means the capacity of the DVD is 15 times greater than the CD, and uh, and the the speed of transferring the data is 20 times faster than the CD. Means the storage capacity and the transfer of the data both is at the high rate than the CD. So in the similar way, the CD is available in the three forms. The DVD is also available in the first form. First one is DVD-ROM, again read-only memory, then write, then RW. Now moving to the next topic. The next topic is mobile system organization. So the CD is blank. Now start thinking with me. What you can do with your mobile? So you can make a call with your mobile. You can install some application in the mobile. Now, isn't it? First one is mobile processor. First of all, we thought about that we can call with the help of mobile. So this can be done with the help of communication processing unit. And next, what we said, that we can install apps in the mobile. So this is all about application processing unit. Means the mobile processes can be divided into the two parts. First one is communication processing unit and second one is application processing unit. Now think what we can else do with the mobile. The display subsystem. We can watch movies, we can watch serials, we can watch YouTube videos, many other things. Or means the touch system of the mobile phone, that is the display subsystem. So the other component in the mobile is display subsystem. Now next is camera subsystem. You are all familiar. So what is the use of camera subsystem? In order to capture pictures, videos. The next is mobile system memory, that is the internal memory of the mobile, and the storage, this is the external memory of the mobile. So these are the altogether memory system organization. We are missing one thing, that is the battery of the mobile. So this is the power management subsystem. So these are the subsystems that you can accumulate each other in order to design the memory system organization. So there is no need to learn it, just close your eyes and think about the application what you are doing with your mobile system. Now moving ahead, the next slide is about the hardware and the software. So what is the hardware? Again a very common and simple design. All the components, all the physical component, that what you can see, what you can touch, what you can feel is the hardware. And what is software? Software are the programs which is used to run the any application in the computer system, to run the program, that what you cannot touch, you can only see and you cannot feel. This is called the software. So types of software. The type of softwares available are the system software. The system softwares are those software which are not used by the user. Means you, me and many other users are not simply using the system software. Simple softwares are used in order to maintain the internal activity of the computer systems. Means many types of internal activities are there. Now starting one by one. The first type of software, system software, is the operating system. This is a very common. What is operating system? Operating systems provide the interface between the user and the computer system. Means it give a platform through which a user can interact with the computer system. The next is language processor. So what is the language processor? This is the important topic for you all. So as You all know that the computer cannot understand the human language and the human cannot understand the computer language. So there is a language processor which converts the human understandable language into the computer understandable language and the computer understandable language into the human understandable language. So language processor is a sort of translators which are used to translate the language from the human to the computer understandable language and vice versa. So these are the two softwares which are the system softwares. Now moving ahead, the next is application software. So the application software is a set of software which is used by the user. Means these softwares are maintained, used and run by the user like you and me. So there are four types of application softwares are written here. First one is packages, second one is utility, the third one is customized and the developer tools. Now starting with the packages. So what is the packages? As you have seen the MS Office package in your computer system, the MS Office package contain all types of software which you simply need in any office. In office you have to do some calculative work, you will have to do some data management work, you will have to do some letter writing sort of work. So data packages or the packages are simply used, or these are the generalized software. Means by looking the need of everyone, these softwares are created. So this software is not any specialized software, this is a simply generalized software which can be used by anyone in any office. Now next one is customized software. So what are the customized software? As there are generalized software, this is the actually work for the techies do. The software engineers develop the customized software according to the need, according to the requirement of any particular person. If you are designing any website or if you are designing any software, then this particular software is called the customized software. Okay, means the software made by the software engineer in order to meet any specific goal. Now moving towards the utility. So what is the utility software? As utility means you can use for different uses in your computer system, such as text editor, the notepad which you have given. The backup utility means timely you can take the backup of your computer system. Compression utility, with the help of this utility you can compress your file, or you can less the space taken by your file. So in order you can save much more file in your computer system. Disk defragmenter, this is a type of software through which the memory space is managed. And the antivirus software, so you all know about this software is installed in order to prevent our system from the viruses. So this is all about the today's session. Thank you.